I know Mandia and Kim are here and Bob is online, so maybe have them introduce themselves.
Okay. Kim, go ahead.
Oh, hi. I'm Kim Austin. I'm with MetroPlan. I'm the TDM planner. Yeah, there you go. I am former BAC and PAC. I did all the things.
It continues to. Hi, everyone. My name is Mandia Gonzalez, Transportation Planner with MetroPlan.
Hello, I'm Bob Kuhn from the Transportation Commission. I've been on it for a number of years.
Thank you, Bob. That all of our esteemed guests.
I think so. Yep. Thank you.
Who we got here? We have a full agenda starting with
Mr. Chair, you can go back to introductions and announcements. I know it's been a little bit since the two committees had a combined meeting. I know we have a couple of new members, possibly on each committee before that. So maybe go around, we could all introduce ourselves. The committee members can introduce themselves.
okay. I guess we'll go around this be counterclockwise. I'm Daniel Krem, chair of the BAC, and happy to be here.
Hi, everyone. Kevin Hayes, avid e-biker and part of the BAC. Happy to be here.
Jen Hanks, avid cyclist. I love all the types of bikes. And I like riding my bike way more than driving my car. New to the BAC.
I'm Kainoa or Kai. I work at Rogue Panda here in town, and yeah, BAC.
I'm John Day. I describe myself as an aggressive pedestrian, and I'm on the pedestrian advisory.
I'm Jody Norris. I've been on the BAC years ago and I'm on the PAC now, and I like both forms of transportation.
I'm Sam Meyer. I think I'm vice chair, second chair of the BAC. And Estella's online too. I just saw her.
Hi, yes, can you not hear me? Or,
I can hear you. We can.
okay, sorry, I wasn't sure when we did introductions. Yeah, I'm Estella Hollander on the BAC. I've been on it since I think 2018, and yeah, happy to be here.
Oh, it's all good. Sean Bowker. I love biking. I love walking. I work at the hospital. My job is injury prevention. So my hope is to bring some of that and infuse it into the city planning.
Go to Jay online.
Yeah, hey, my name is Jay Wellman. I'm on the PAC. This is my second meeting, and I love all things walking, biking, hiking, and I'm happy to help.
Is there anyone else online that I'm missing? Yeah, Ron.
Hey, I'm Ron Norton on the Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and like most of you, I'm a fan of any type of self-propelled transportation, including cross-country skiing if we ever get some snow.
We can dream.
And Melanie, yeah.
Melanie.
Everyone, I'm Melanie Colavito. What can I say? Also a fan of non-motorized transportation in all its forms and relatively new to the PAC. I started in the fall.
And also, Mr. Chair, it looks like Brandon Cruikshank has joined us.
Hi, Brandon.
Hey, everybody. My name's Brandon Cruikshank. I was on the Pedestrian Advisory Committee for many, many years. I guess I graduated to the Transportation Commission. I don't know. But anyway, I'm here in my role as being I'm here in my role as being on the Transportation Commission, so I'm just here to listen to what you guys say. And I 2 thumbs up for snow and cross-country skiing whenever it arrives. I'm ready to go. So happy to be here.
I appreciate both you and Bob being here to support us. Did Bob introduce himself?
He did.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm still on. So, and I'm an avid walker, so.
I'll apologize for being late and introduce myself as well. I'm Valerie. I'm on the BAC. I don't know what else we've been saying, so hi.
That's our, we're all here. The entire BAC is represented.
Yeah. Doing the best I can.
Does that conclude our introductions and moving on to any comments or announcements, future agenda items? Anything that's not on this agenda that we want to discuss at the next meeting? Anything of that sort?
I'll just take a moment to recognize the closing of Cosmic Cycles, which has been around since 1972. Yeah, huge bummer, but I was at the closing celebration of life party, and it was a lot of fun. The Dior's played. If anyone's ever seen them before, it was a good time. So, all right.
What's going on with the building?
I don't know. I think they're just like doing construction there, but
They are leaving.
Cosmic is closed. Definitely. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Forward to the public comment. Any public comments? Kim, please.
Hi, I just wanted to inform everyone, since we have all parties here. I'm working on a campaign. It's called the Safer People Campaign, and it's based on the Federal Highway Administration Safer Systems Approach. And we're working with a marketing company, Mount Mojo, to produce an educational campaign. And it'll be coming out soon, and I will share information with both committees when it happens, but I will also come and ask for ways to promote said education on roundabouts and crossings and the interaction between bikes, pedestrians, bicyclists, pedestrians, and vehicles. And Chris Fair knows all about it because he was in the video with me.
Cyclist number 2.
No, you're cyclist number
Come on,
3.
Kim.
I'm cyclist number 2.
That's way down in the.
Yeah.
You gotta watch the credits from the phone to get to cyclist number 3.
Speaking line?
No speaking lines.
Not yet. Soon, maybe,
Soon.
maybe.
And I've been told we've been joined by David Spence.
Hello, everybody. Just sitting in to learn what goes on at PED and bike commission meeting, so I can be a better councilman. So I'll just be a fly on the wall.
We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for joining us. I'll just add that when the new council is seated, one of the first things they do is assign committees and boards, and you will be the representative for transportation, pedestrian, and bicycle committees. So.
Yes, good.
We hope to give you something to say.
If that part is done, I'd just like to make an announcement.
Please.
I think both committees know Sergeant Kevin Rue with Flagstaff PD has been with us the last couple of meetings. Sometime around the holidays, he took ill. He got sick. It became pretty serious. He was taken to the hospital. They couldn't diagnose it. I don't think they still know what happened. He was in pretty bad shape. I'm happy to report that he's coming out of it. He's in Phoenix at St. Joseph's. I think he'll be home. They're expected to release him in about 10 days. They still don't know what it was that affected him. But he's stabilized and doing better and kind of on the mend. Some of you may be familiar with the Shadows Foundation as a local group. They are taking donations for his care and for support of his family. I wrote the website up there. I would ask, are you inclined to maybe as a combined group, if I can send out an email and maybe take up a donation and send it on behalf of both groups? And I can send out an email tomorrow and we can make arrangements for how we do that. Venmo or, I don't know, coins in the hour, something, whatever. It's the latest and we don't have to, it's not a formal thing, but is there a consensus? Do you guys are interested in doing that?
I mean, yes.
And hopefully he's, he is able to recover enough and will be able to join us. I know it's beneficial to have him here. He's also a pretty nice person to have around.
The next item on the agenda is old business, the 5-year capital plan. We got some both veteran and bike projects that are in that plan and being funded and moving forward.
Yeah, I think both PAC and BAC talked about this at their December meetings. And I showed some maps. In the time that's elapsed since the December meeting, we've actually had to submit our formal requests for the capital budget. Just a reminder, when we do the capital budget, it covers a 5-year period of time. So what we're requesting in year 1 becomes our budget, what money we have available beginning on July 1st. What's in years 2 through 5 are not available as funding, but we anticipate those projects moving up in the cycle when we get to those. So I wanted to show you what we submitted. This map is what you're going to see is kind of a composite. I think this is the same format that we looked at the previous meetings. But in dark red and light red are the projects that we included in the capital plan. So dark red is year 1, so we'll have budget available. Lighter red is years 2 through 5. The other categories are public projects. So in this case, when a sidewalk is being constructed as part of a city capital project, it shows up as blue. First mile, last mile shows up as violet. And if a project is part of private development, it shows up as orange. So I'll just show you which projects are in the capital budget. One is the sidewalk along Linda Vista, that slip ramp. And I believe that is the only project that we have funded for next year. But in future years, we're looking at the sidewalk on Fort Valley Road, basically from, say, Navajo all the way up to Meade. The sidewalks on 4th Street are perennial capital projects. There's right-of-way issues, essentially, which prevent us from moving forward with completing those sidewalks on the east side. And then the other project is kind of a combination of missing sidewalks on Thompson, University, and Plaza. First mile, last mile is funded and we're working on it. I think that's the next agenda item. So I'll save any details about those sidewalks. All the black sidewalks we call infill. So they're short segments. We have funding for it. We just met with the city's Public Works Streets Division to talk about which of those infill sidewalks that might be able to help us deliver as part of their ongoing road repair project. So all of these are, all the ones that are in black, the short segments, are funded in the 5-year plan. So it's just a question of us getting plans ready for them and getting them delivered. But we have theoretically the money to do all those sections. And a lot of them, we've done all the easy ones. The ones that are left are getting more difficult. I think the ones At some point, we're gonna get to ones that are really, really difficult, but we'll keep working through them. That's sidewalks. Here's foot trails, same kind of color scheme,
Can I ask you a question about sidewalks real fast?
of course.
When you have a segment highlighted, is that sidewalks on both sides of the road or one side of the road or the other, or is it not distinguished?
It kind of depends, and we almost have to like zoom in to see, none of them, I mean, in some cases, we're putting it on one side of the road, but the sidewalk we was on the other side. So if we do a project, we try to do it on both sides. Like the blue lines around, Butler and Fourth is both sides.
And how thick are you trying to make them? Are you trying to go 6 feet or?
It depends. Our standards call for 5 feet on locals and collectors and 6 feet on arterials.
Okay.
So we try to, in all cases, it will hit that. We try to do parkways. It's part of our standards as well. It's not always possible.
Yeah. Great.
Move on to foot trails, same color scheme. The trails that we have in the budget are Schweitzer Canyon. We've been working on that project for a long time. The designs are done. We just need to bid the project and get it built. And I think that's happening this spring, that we'll put it out to bid. The other ones are, this one is called the Sawmill Trail, and it connects from the Elara development on the east side of Sawmill Road, kind of south of Butler, down to the trail that's along the Sinclair Wash or the Rio, whatever you want to call it. This is a collection of trails along Lone Tree that theoretically, hopefully, will connect over to NAU at the end of Mountain View Drive. So this is in the budget because the Lone Tree Overpass project is going to build a foot trail all the way from Route 66 down to this point. So we want to be able to, once that's done, to kind of move that project, extend that project to actually provide access to NAU, and then extend south to connect to the Sinclair Wash Trail. And then the last one we've had in the budget for a while, but we just haven't gotten to the point where we've worked on it, is we call it the Sinclair Ridge, but it really connects over to D. Miguel School. So you may be familiar with the story. I may have told it before, but when that development went in at the south end of University Heights, they built a foot trail and they ended it at their property line, which happens to be a place where you could stand there and then look over a couple of fences and see D. Miguel School, but you can't get there. All the parents who have kids in that neighborhood went to D. Miguel School. I think most of those kids are graduated from law school at this point, but at that time, the parents were like, hey, you get this trail, but we can't get to D. Miguel School. So that's the situation we're trying to address here.
Question.
Sure.
A while back, you said, so there's gonna be another development like right west of University Heights at some point? And then there was something about connectivity that we were trying to do, like closer to the interstate.
Up here?
Yeah, you know how there's like a water tower and there's like a little path that goes through there?
Yes.
And you were trying to like formalize that or keep it in perpetuity?
It's still our plan.
Okay, all right. I just don't see it highlighted anywhere or, just would love an update.
It's on the plan. So if that parcel comes forward for development, that connection is planned. So
Okay.
They have some obligation to make it. To make
Okay,
that connection.
good.
We'd be watching out for that. It's
Okay,
been on our radar.
Perfect.
Yeah.
thank you. So it would be such a bummer to lose that connection between those neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Or,
because this whole side of University Heights has no place for a connection. So really the only places are down here, and up here. And if you're living over here and you want to go to NAU or downtown or, any part of the city in that area, there would really be very few direct ways to get there.
yeah,
But that connection provides, it's not anywhere close to ideal.
It's better than nothing.
Because you have to, like, you ride through that connection, then you're in University Heights, and you have to ride through that neighborhood. But it's better than nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably worth mentioning, based on Valerie's comments, that the trails that are shown in orange are the trails that would be built as part of private development. But we don't have any control over private development when it happens. So we know that these projects that are shown here are kind of in the works, so there's a decent chance they'll move forward. The project that Valerie mentioned hasn't really come in for any kind of approval, so it feels like it's too far out to start putting it on this map. I'll mention this one. This one might be new. This is a trail along Lake Mary Road. And I don't know, maybe a month ago, the council approved an apartment complex out kind of remote along Lake Mary Road. One of the conditions of approval is that they build a foot trail out to provide better access.
Is that where those pirate flags have been flying?
That's where the pirate flags are flying. Yes, yeah, I think those two things are related, but I'm not quite sure how. So we put that on here since that seems to be. Enhanced crossings. What's in violet here is the first mile, last mile. We have two red ones, so money in the budget or in the 5-year plan. One is at, we have three. One is in the budget at Humphreys, and I think we call it Humphreys at 5, but it may end up being Humphreys at Hunt. And that really, there's been a lot of public interest in the crossing there, primarily because more students at Flag High are taking the Mountain Line bus. And so they're let off on the east side of Humphreys, and there's been a lot more crossing activities on Humphreys. So we've actually done a little bit of preliminary work on that one with ADOT, and it looks like it has a good possibility to move forward. So we had money in the out years of the budget previously, and since it seems to be kind of important, we moved it up because we have money in this year's budget. The other two that we have in out years are crossing at Woodlands Village Boulevard, where Sinclair Wash Foots is, if you're familiar with that one, right by Big 5. And then further out, this looks like it's kind of isolated, but we actually have existing foots trails in Timber Sky next to the Public Works yard. So it seems like, and Timber Sky is kind of filling up with, it's a new neighborhood. So it seemed like a good time to start planning for that one in our budget. That one's kind of tough. That part of Route 66 doesn't have a ton of traffic, but it's really, really fast. So how we do a crossing there, I think we have to be a little bit careful to make sure that it's safe.
Can you go back to the previous screen?
What is this little blue spot right here and this blue stretch right here?
And maybe explain what the public funding would be.
Sure. So the short one in that case is the Florence Walnut Underpass. So public means that it's funded through the Downtown Mile project. It'll be built as part of Downtown Mile.
Okay.
A big public project. The other one you pointed to is the Karen Cooper Trail, the extension of it from in front of the library and across City Hall. That's part of the Rio de Flag flood control project. So again, a capital project that includes that trail as part of it.
And those aren't a part of the year one budget, but those are funded and started.
Yes, we include them on this map, but it's blue because they're not part of the Ped and Bike capital program. They're part of somebody else's capital program. I don't know. I know Downtown Mile has funding and it's moving forward. I don't know the schedule for construction. I know the Rio de Flag has funding, but it's been kind of languishing for a long time, so it's hard to say what the schedule would be.
Okay. Put that underpass as part of the first mile, last mile.
Yes, yeah. And like these blue trails here are part of the Lone Tree Overpass. The blue trails over here are part of the Butler Fourth project. This is the roundabout at Beulah University. So all those are public capital projects, but you know, the ped bike component is a small component of a much bigger project. So here from the enhanced crossing, this is that Foots Trail connection. You can see here's an existing trail in gray. Here's an existing trail in gray. There's a short section to be connected, and then the crossing, of course, to actually make those two trails continuous. It's also part of the Flag Loop Trail, by the way. So we'll go to separated crossings, and here we have none in the in our capital plan. They tend to be fairly expensive, but we have a number that are shown in public projects. Most of these are associated with the downtown mile. So the Florence Walnut, and then it looks like there's a bunch, but there's a trail that goes under 66 and the railroad tracks. And then the sidewalk and bike lanes under the railroad underpass along Milton account for all those 4 dots. All these dots are related to the Lone Tree overpass. So we count them separately. The trail goes under Lone Tree along Route 66. There's a planned trail that goes under underpass on the south side of the tracks. And there's a planned trail that's on the overpass that goes over the railroad tracks. So that's 1, 2, 3 different grade separations and the 3 blue dots here.
When you're finished with this, can we pop back to the enhanced crossings?
Sure. We can do that now.
So nothing on San Francisco by the hospital to enhance that crosswalk there?
We count that as an existing enhanced crosswalk.
It's not enhanced, it's terrible.
Which one are you talking about?
The one where the bus stop used to be, right across from the emergency department.
Yeah, with like the island and the trees.
Yeah, that nobody can see you because you're obscured by the trees when you're in the crosswalk.
We'll still count that as enhanced. What you're suggesting is the enhancements ought to be enhanced.
Yeah. They do.
Need some help.
I literally refuse to use the crosswalk because I've almost been killed in it probably once a week for the 1.5 to 2 years that I was trying to use it. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna cross further north or further south, sorry.
Is it like the vegetation, just the sight distance?
And it's on a downhill curve, so people don't see you when you're here. They're coming this direction. They're not gonna see you until they're on top of you. So it's just not in a great location. If it were maybe a little further south on the road or there was 0 vegetation there and lights, then it would be better, kind of like what it is on Beaver. But the one on San Francisco is nothing like the one on Beaver.
And without the bus stop there, would you say like we could look at a potentially different location might be better for crossing?
Yeah.
That used to serve the bus stop.
Yeah, it used to serve the bus stop, but they pulled out the bus stop, and so there's no reason to have it right there. We could move it further south.
The reason it crosses is all the medical offices on the east side of San Francisco.
Right, so the hospital doesn't, like my office, we don't have space in the hospital. There's just no space for us. So all those offices on the other side of the street, we're all crossing back and forth constantly because we have business in the hospital, but our offices are across the streets.
Okay, it's good information.
Yeah.
Close to the peak of that hill. I go by that way every day because our office is over on the medical side, and I agree, almost everybody crosses closer to the peak of the hill rather than using the crosswalk.
Because for that very reason.
But it seems like that would be a nicer place for sight distance both ways for everybody, or I don't know.
Closer to the peak is like south of where the existing crossing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is that the sidewalk there is almost never cleared, like in front of Dr. Ritland's old building.
Yeah.
And so it's you're taking your life in your hands if you go walking down that sidewalk.
That's also where the bike lane disappears is near there too, right? It's where you're
Just
in
south of there.
in a lane, then you're in a shoulder, then you're
in the road for like 20 feet and then you're back in a lane.
So the 20 feet is where the island is.
Yep. So, yeah. Yep. It's not great on a bike either. You have to, I just take the lane and then people are mad.
So not great for crossing. Sidewalks have some issues. Not great for biking. How about cross-country skiing? It's good for that. If we had.
Train if we had a zip line. Put a zip line there, that would be awesome. Yeah, just take care of that.
All right. Thank you for that discussion. Okay, we're just looking at these real quickly. This is, the city's taking on a project to, improve the interchange at I-40 in Butler. So this shows a great separation, but we count where there's like a road that goes under the interstate as a great separation, as long as we have bike lanes or foot trails or a sidewalk. So it doesn't have to be like a dedicated tunnel or a dedicated bridge. Even places where the road or a street goes across the railroad tracks or an interstate, we count as a grade separation. And we want them to be accommodating of pets and bikes. This one we have in reports, but it's the intersection at Butler and Fourth. You may recall that the city was applying for a grant, and if we got the grant, we could do a tunnel. We got the grant, so we get to do a tunnel. I gave it away. That was supposed to be. This is the one that is mostly constructed underneath Milton by New University.
Is it open? Is that crossing open?
Not yet.
Not yet. Curious.
I have a quick question. On the downtown mile, could you describe what's going to happen to that Greaves intersection?
I'm not sure. It's gonna be rearranged. It'll be signalized. It won't look like it does today, so there won't be kind of the slip ramps. San Francisco will come more at a kind of a traditional T intersection.
Okay, yeah, because I was reading that downtown mile section and it just said the Sitgreaves street ramp is going away. So I was just curious how that's going to function. And then do you know what kind of crosswalks are going there? I mean, they're marked, but like how that's all interacting. So it's just a conventional T with crosswalks at all sides of that.
No, unfortunately, there's no pedestrian crossing at that intersection.
It's an underpass a little bit up the way, right?
I think Jay is talking about crossing Route 66 or Milton.
Yeah. So are you going to be able to cross? I guess my question is to the new community hub lower down on Milton right there. Is there a crosswalk there? That's what I'm just trying to get from this.
No, not as part of that project, but we've identified it as a place where a crossing might go. And Mountain Line in their planning for the Downtown Connection Center, the new building that's going up, had appealed to ADOT for a signal at that location. Primarily for buses to be able to get in and out more easily, but it would also have served as a pedestrian crossing too if it had been signalized. So that's kind of a tough one, but there's definitely, if you think about that stretch of where Milton turns into Route 66, goes underneath the railroad tracks, there's not a place for pedestrians to cross formally from Butler all the way to Beaver around that corner.
Right.
Yeah.
And that bike lane disappears as you're there, going up the hill.
So
No, to get on the curb, you're in trouble getting up there on that blind curb there.
There will be a bike lane.
So as of now, though, there's not a planned crossing there. I'm still a little confused for pedestrians, like to that neighborhood.
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Is there any strong words to be said to somehow make that happen more? Because a lot of people use that, and that's a neighborhood connecting a neighborhood that can't be connected. So I and others are forced to very scarily cross there. If that makes sense.
I thought there was an underpass right by City Hall over to the
The downtown.
Yes, there will be, yes, yeah.
So you can cross the city hall, but there's nothing going west-east in that location. So like Mother Road, people coming from Mother Road, the community hub, which a lot of people come from that south side neighborhood because they're crossing the tracks there. I'm just trying to think. Anyway, it'd be awesome if there's a crosswalk there.
When you say Mountain Line appealed to ADOT, did ADOT respond?
Yes, I mean, there was like a whole formal process, yeah. I'll try to
Yeah,
collect more information. Oh, sorry, Estella's.
sorry, I can just add on. Yeah, honestly, it's been a many-year saga of going back and forth between ADOT and elevating it and talking to the director and going back. And unfortunately, yeah, just kept getting denied.
Cool. Thanks.
I'll collect a little bit of information and we can maybe put that on the next PAC agenda in February and just kind of look at that situation as.
It'd be interesting of like a bridge of sorts or something, but I see a lot of people needing something there just because, again, what you mentioned is a huge stretch of community disconnected by the busiest road in Flagstaff.
Martin, we had a presentation on that like a long time ago, didn't
did,
we?
yeah.
Yeah, so it was like Milton does like and then it was just gonna be a T so there's not gonna be any signal there?
Signal, but no crossings, yeah.
I think that would not be hard to add, right?
Define hard.
Anyways, okay.
Does BAC want to see it too? I can
Yes.
have those, okay, all right. Okay, and the last one is bikeways, and this is kind of a composite of what's going in as part of public projects and what we're working on as part of first mile, last mile. First mile, last mile is still a little bit fluid. We're working through the designs and coming up on the costs. So some of this may change. This is maybe a little bit isolated just to look at it here, but if we look at this is what's existing plus the new one. So a good part of what we're doing is even where there are existing bike lanes, making them buffered. So adding typically 2 feet between the travel lane and the bike lane. And then it's hard to tell here, but there's a few places where we're trying to fill in gaps in the bikeway system. But stay tuned, more information on that. We'll keep working on it.
The difference between a bike lane and a buffer is its width.
Yeah, so think of a bike lane, a buffered bike lane is just having an extra 2 feet of space basically between the travel lane and the bike lane. So the bike lane stays intact. And there's a buffer that is neither bike lane nor travel lane. So it's not technically a wider bike lane because you're still operating in your same space, but there's a gap between you and the travel way. It's a stunned silence.
Has there been any movement on experimenting with texture in the buffer instead of paint? Like, I know BAC has discussed, people didn't like the candlesticks for various reasons, but we discussed grooves in the road, rumble strips, or those little plasticky things. I don't know what they're called. I should have looked this up before, but the low kind of mounds that they have in like Tucson, the armadillos, is that what they're called? Yeah, those. Any word on that instead of just paint?
No, we haven't. We started looking into it, but I don't think we made any progress on it. I don't think the armadillos are going to be a possibility just because of the plows. There would be no way of seeing them or avoiding them. We'll do a little bit more research on the texture. See if we can find. We looked at a few places in Tucson where they've used it. Really didn't get very far beyond that.
I have another question. The little yellow chunk that's an underpass between Boulder Point and University Heights. Why would you not just extend that new blue line like a millimeter further to hit that yellow one?
Here?
Um,
Oh, this section.
yeah, right there. Can you do that?
I feel like we looked at that. I don't remember the answer, but I'll bring that.
I assumed
up.
there was a good reason. Yeah. I also, they redid the,
And I think there actually is a bike lane. Westbound side,
yeah,
not the eastbound side.
okay, maybe that's part of the problem. Or
And then,
something, yeah.
is there parking on the westbound, on the eastbound side? I'll find out.
Yes, yeah,
There's houses fronting it on the eastbound.
okay.
So
But also they redid the sidewalk right where that tunnel spits out. And they didn't include any curb cuts. And that was just such a missed opportunity. And I don't understand how that kind of stuff like falls through the cracks. Cause now I just have to get off the bike, go up the curb, cause I'm not gonna jump the curb, cause I'm too scared. And then, so yeah, I don't know how that kind of stuff. Shouldn't have.
So I thought, I haven't actually been out of the office in like 4 years.
Okay.
So I don't know much of what goes on out
Yeah.
there, but I thought that they were gonna actually put a curb ramp in the
I
trail.
don't think.
There isn't. No.
Yeah.
They didn't?
Now you have me feeling like I'm going crazy, but they did.
You know, I
Yeah.
was thinking that too, yeah, because I was on my e-bike and I can't jump curbs.
Thank you. Yeah.
So something happened.
So I got off my
Okay, so
bike.
they were supposed to, yeah. I
Yeah.
was like, that seems like the stuff we would not overlook. Somebody screwed up.
I'm glad you said that because I was thinking that at the time and I was like, I need to write this down and then you like get home and you forget.
What was there before, like before they did that?
I don't even know it was there before,
I
but
think it was just sidewalk. I think it was exactly the same
Did that
situation,
curb? Okay.
but now it's just a less crumbly situation.
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any of these bikeways, I can't tell from at this size, on Fort Valley Road? To like deal with what's happening on what would that be? The west side of Fort Valley Road?
Generally where?
You know, by the school where you cross over and there's a trail for a minute and then it completely goes away. And there's walls that people built to deal with the flooding retention. And then you're in a teeny little stretch.
I
of
think so,
bikeway,
like leading up to,
like towards the
Savannah.
museum.
Yeah. Yeah. So that last little bit wasn't intended to be a trail. That was just the sidewalk extension to get you to Savannah. It's asphalt, but I think it was intended to be the sidewalk. So the trail crosses over and then goes up on
So you're
that side.
just only supposed to be on that. So
Yeah. And there,
I
and
don't
there
like
are,
it.
there are shoulders, but right at they vary in width depending on the existing road and if it has curb gutter or not.
But the defined shoulders, not just lanes.
Yes, right. There's space, but they're not designated as bike lanes, yeah. For ADOT's. Okay, unless there's anything else on the capital stuff, I just wanted to have you take a look quickly at the first mile last mile, which I think is the next agenda item.
It is.
So, first mile last mile, you remember, is a federal grant working on a handful of sidewalks, crossings, and bikeways. And the crossings are on Fort Valley Road, Solier, and Lake Mary. Sidewalks are shown here in purple. We got the first cost estimates back for the sidewalks, and we have to make some decisions. They came in pretty expensive. Just to kind of remind you, the sidewalk projects we had were on San Francisco, kind of on both sides of Columbus. On Schweitzer Canyon, there's just a couple places where they're missing. on Huntington, essentially to provide access from the food bank and the shelter onto transit on Route 66. Forest Meadows and Highland Mesa. Sidewalks are on one side of the road, but not the other. Then along Lake Mary Road. So what we're kind of thinking in terms of like what we want to move forward and what is going to be at the bottom end and may not move forward is we want to keep the ones on Huntington. Those seem to be pretty important. There's a lot of pedestrian activity. You know, there's been the police have been active in that area, working with the property owners and the shelter and the food bank. And there's a lot of interest in having those sidewalks put in. So we're gonna keep those. We're gonna reach out to the food bank and to the shelter and just kind of find out, like, get their take on how the area gets used to make sure that what we build for sidewalks kind of works for the people who are going to be using them. So that one we'll keep. That is turning into a really expensive project, but it's pretty important. So we want to keep it. San Francisco is a little bit complicated, but there's an opportunity to do that as part of the city's road repair. Is going to be working in the road in that area. So we may transfer that project over from first mile, last mile to the road repair. We still have to pay for it. There's a different way we can get it delivered, possibly for less money. The one on Schweitzer Canyon, I think we want to remain because it's like the one missing piece of sidewalk along that whole stretch. Here it shows kind of two. The other one is down by the doghouse, and that one gets really, really complicated. It's really just taking up where there's existing asphalt and putting concrete in its place. And there's a place for people to walk. It's really complicated. So I think we probably won't do that one. Forest Meadows and Highland Mesa are fairly straightforward. So we want to do those. They're probably like the least interesting in terms of like who it serves and the need for it, but they're relatively straightforward. And then we're having a little bit of trouble with the Lake Mary one. And this would be like a sidewalk on the east side of Lake Mary to connect transit. So that one is probably the most likely to get dropped off the list if we can't afford them all.
And there's a fudge trail that's going along this stretch already on a previous map.
It's planned, but we were really thinking of them as two different projects. So we were going to try to complete portions of the sidewalk before a foot's trail went in.
But eventually there will be other accommodations for.
Yes, but it may take a while for us to get to that point.
Well, when you say a while, I believe you.
Good. So any thoughts about those projects and how we're thinking about them, or priorities or functionality or usefulness?
I think San Francisco is that's a helpful one because I see a lot of people parking, most especially like during summer parades, Christmas parades, etc. People are always parking north and trying to walk all the way down San Francisco to watch. And it's hard because at the end of the parade, then they're all walking back to their cars. There's no sidewalks and there's a lot of traffic. And I feel like it's pretty dangerous. Having been one of those pedestrians.
They do.
San Francisco.
Yeah, past the last light, they speed up.
And almost like a drag racing course or something.
Yes, yeah.
Get down there at Aspen and start prepping their engines.
Isn't the intersection by the courthouse has a ton of crashes that San Francisco right by the?
That's
I
right
feel like we
outside
talked
my
about that.
office, and I'm always just hearing.
Yeah, Cherry in San Francisco. Haven't there been a number of crashes there?
There's also a lot of
feel like
Priuses
do
that
that.
slide backwards down during the winter months.
That's a Prius problem. But I think the good thing about this is a lot of people, like for me in particular, I have meetings downtown frequently and I would walk it, but I can't if I'm going down San Francisco because I can't come back up on the sidewalk. It's not there. And so I wind up driving it instead. And I think that's probably true for a lot of people that would walk up and down San Francisco more. So I think that's a good project. And if you can sneak it in under the streets stuff, that'd be pretty cost effective, I think.
It gets pretty tight in there for all the things that we want to do, but there may be a way to have that work out. Any thoughts on the other ones? One thing we had looked at with the one over on Huntington is can we serve the function with the sidewalk on one side? Because that significantly decrease the cost, but I think we're kind of holding that idea in abeyance until we talk to the food bank and the shelter to find out. Because if it's on one side, the easiest side to build it on would be the north side, but both of those facilities are on the south side of the street. So right off the bat, it's less than ideal.
Well, yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. When I first heard about the last mile grant, the spirit of the entire grant was kind of that corridor. That's kind of how the whole conversation started, was
Yeah, I mean,
that was the first mile.
Right, it's intended to support access to transit, which is exactly what the issue is along that street in that area, yeah.
Start say what 4th Street, what was gonna be happening with those, or is that already? I see the little lines on there, and I totally missed when you probably said it. My brain got caught up with whatever else you were saying right before that. So sorry about that, Martin.
No worries. It's in our capital plan, but we don't have, there's right of way issues.
Gotcha.
We've, years ago, we reached out to the property owners and couldn't acquire the right of way necessary. So we either have to, work something out with the property owners, condemn the land for right of way to the sidewalks, or narrow the street, meaning like take lanes out of 4th Street.
And it seemed like when we're
Conversation.
striping the parking lot, like, it's been really nice on Schweitzer, on the west side of Schweitzer. They've stopped parking the trucks at the GM dealership right out onto the road. And so you can actually use that as a sidewalk now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, anyway, thanks. Sorry, I got distracted.
Okay, we should probably, unless there's any other comments, we should probably keep moving forward.
I think there were some questions in the chat. Okay.
How about a pedestrian bridge constructed with the expanded railroad overpass? I think that was, Brandon, I think that was considered. There's not much room on the north side of that expanded railroad overpass for also a pedestrian overpass. There probably is on the south side, but we were having a hard time kind of figuring out what that would connect to on both sides. And it would be a way to get people across Milton, but it wouldn't be very convenient if you're on Milton and trying to get across for the people in Plaza Vieja, for example.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's still something that's under consideration. We just have to work out where it would be most functional and where it would technically could actually be. And it's not part of any of the projects like Downtown Lawn or Flag.
Hey, Martin, real quickly, circling back, I'm sure it's annoying. If you put it on the south side of Phoenix, like just a enhanced crosswalk with a push button,
yeah,
the people coming around the curve are straight and the people coming up are straight. And both are, during rush hour times, that's bumper to bumper anyway, so they're already slow. So if it was a blinky light and they saw you, they would stop. And the same way with on coming down, if they were heading north, coming south, sorry, it's both a straight way. It'd be, I mean, in my mind, that's where I kind of cross anyways. I go to the south side to then cross and go north. But I feel like that would be a super used for cyclists and pedestrian crosswalks.
Yeah, you're talking about it at Phoenix, yes?
Yeah, so if you did it at Phoenix on the south side, because people both are coming straight in at that point, north and southbound. And if you had just a blinky light that says, hey, draw attention to this, I'm gonna wait, because obviously people are racing that as well, but I'm gonna wait and just make eye contact there. It would still be way safer than crossing with a bike or, kid on my shoulders, waiting in the suicide lane and then go. But I will stop bringing that up. But that one I use all the time, and I'm scared of it every time. But I need to use it. So that's why.
Yeah, I don't disagree with your analysis. I think that wouldn't be a bad place for it. And it would take some sort of beacon crossing. We'll keep it on our radar and maybe do a little bit of preliminary work with ADOT on it.
Cool, thanks. I will stop annoying the crew. Thanks.
Okay, we'll move on.
The next agenda item is new business, onboarding information. I think there was a handout on that one.
Yes. One's gonna be me.
All right, take it away.
All right, here, I'm gonna share my screen so that people online are able to see it as well. Can you guys online see this document?
Yeah, we can see it. Can you zoom in just a little bit?
Sure. Would anybody like a copy? Does anyone need one who's present? All right. Okay. All right, so as I'm sure that you all have noticed, we've had plenty of new members join over the last couple of months. We decided to put together a document that could be useful for new members to help get up to speed. So we can just walk through this fairly briefly. We'll talk about each component, and then at the end, let's go around and if there's anything that you think would have been useful or should belong on this for future members who are joining, or clarification on anything, let's talk about it. So it starts off with committee structure. Site city code, as the BAC and PAC are 7-member advisory committees to the Transportation Commission. Highlights the schedule, which recently changed just to make sure that we're all on the same page. BAC is now 3rd Thursday of each month. PAC is 4th Thursday of each month. Meetings are in person or on Teams. Delegates to the committees. Oh, yeah, I guess, so people who are joining the committees are appointed by the Transportation Commission. I'm sure the recent members, or everybody at one point remembers going through that. Committee members are appointed for 3-year terms, and they serve a total of 2 terms plus 1 partial term. There's some fluidity there, I'm sure you've noticed. And as far as a quorum, that just means that 4 or more out of 7 people need to be present. If not, the meeting will be canceled. We'll talk about the Transportation Commission briefly. The Transportation Commission consists of 7 voting members as representatives from FUSD and Mountain Line, along with 5 citizens and 2 non-voting members. This is not. Carl, say nice of you. Man, where was I? See, where was I? And 2 non-voting members who are the city transportation engineer and police department representative. The Transportation Commission reviews requests for changes in traffic regulations and formulates and recommends traffic-related policies and ordinances to city council. The TC takes input from BAC and PAC. Okay, reading off. There we go. Takes input from the BAC and PAC and incorporates this input into its final decisions and recommendations. TC meets every other month on the first Wednesday at 4 p.m. So that's now with our restructure of our meetings, we have some good continuity from BAC to PAC to TC. A lot of acronyms. So meeting agenda, this I thought was particularly helpful because it took me a little while to get used to meeting agendas according to Robert's rules. We don't need to really go through each individual component of this. I'm sure that we're all fairly up to speed unless anybody has any questions. But I mean, it's the format that we've been following every meeting that we've been at.
I noticed old and new business were switched around on here.
You know, and that happens from time to time.
When it's old, will be new again.
Beyond that, we get into planning documents. So, you know, a lot of what we talk about relates to the ATMP or informs the ATMP. So we just gave a brief description of that and some helpful links to the document and to some supporting materials for it. We also highlight the regional plan with links to the current and the draft. And then another link to many other existing policies and plans that are in place. We bring up some of our fellow transportation agencies, including Metro Plan, Mountain Line, ADOT, and NAU. Some of the local organizations, FBO and the Flagstaff Trails Initiative, and some of our larger public projects, Rio de Flag, the Downtown Mile, Lone Tree Overpass, Butler Fourth, and Beulah University. And a few online resources, connections to our City of Flagstaff boards and commissions. Looks like there's a training video. Martin, is that specific to committee members?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone here has watched it. And it looks like just links to the Head Advisory Committee, Bicycle Advisory Committee information as well, and the Foots Trail System, and finally Transportation Commission. So that's what we put together as what we thought would be useful for new members who are coming on. Can anybody speak to their experience where maybe there's something else that has come up or any ideas?
I think it could be helpful to add, it might be hard to keep up to date, but a section on major sources of funding. We talk a lot about different grant sources, especially federal grants.
Sure.
That could be useful, especially, and I think it helps to understand the parameters of those different grants too, what they can be used for and what they can't, like first mile, last mile, or Safe Streets for All, or things like that.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because yeah, we frequently will preface whatever grant project we're about to talk about with a quick description, and that would be good. It's a good idea.
And also, I don't think under our other, I guess under local organizations, or I don't know where they would go, but Flagstaff Police Department has been a big part of our committee and has been very active in our meetings, and I appreciate them and where they would go on here, but yeah.
Arizona Rise statutes would be great, just because I think that comes up a lot of, what legal rights, to your point, Daniel, do pedestrians and cyclists have in roadways?
Yeah, and the city code also deals with.
Yeah, city code.
Well, but sidewalks were allowed to ride on.
Where e-bikes can go.
Yeah. And also just thank you guys for putting together the agenda and for educating us as regular citizens on how this all plays together. I know that I've never sat on a commission before or been political, and you guys have been very patient with me as far as explaining how all this ties together. And it's got to be difficult to take people who aren't from your world and kind of incorporate us and incorporate our scatterbrained thoughts and completely derailing your agenda every single time you spend hours putting it together. And then we get in this room and it's like, that's not what we want to talk about. But thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Daniel. I think this is your chance to Like what we, we live in this world. You guys sometimes are new to it. You have different levels of experience or knowledge of it. So how can we make this process, like, what can we tell you? What information can we share to make you better committee members, basically, give you education, to help you learn about what's going on, make better informed decisions.
Another thing. Brief descriptions of the transportation agencies and what they oversee would also be helpful, because I know, no offense to our friends at MetroPlan, but trying to understand what MetroPlan is very difficult for me. They're like not a government agency, but also are kind of. Yeah, you are. I don't understand. It's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Anyway.
What do you want it to be?
Or, NAPTA versus Mountain Line or things like that. I don't know, it could be helpful.
Yeah.
Melanie has her hand raised online.
Yeah, thanks. I think this is really great. And since I'm so new to the commission, I'd be curious if like there's a rough summary of expectations for members, or like what would be most beneficial for us to bring to this space from your perspectives too, as city employees. So yeah, and I don't know if I missed a link to this, or if you just haven't sent it out yet, but I think that this is really helpful. Thanks.
I'm glad that the terms are a little bit longer and you get to do 2 terms, because I know for me, it took me so long to even wrap my mind around the agencies, the funding, like you say, like which people are going to be around forever and what funding can we spend this year. And I mean, it's all, for the first few meetings, you're just like, this is hard to understand. I've learned that like ADOT hates us, like.
All right, well, is there anything else? If not, we can continue moving along.
The next item on the agenda is West Route 66 multimodal planning.
There is a West 66 study going on. Metro Plan, we have some money through some of our tax revenue, but not enough to do an ultimate complete section between Milton and past Woody Mountain Road. So there's a study for that whole corridor, all the growth happening up here. These are the existing things going on within it. Oh, I think 2 pages and then.
This is 2-sided, so I got confused.
Yeah, it's 3 pages total. So one's 2-sided and one's not.
Should have. Did you get one 2-sided and one? Okay.
One.
Thanks. We don't have enough money to do any ultimate section, really. Maybe we could leverage the money we have later effort to figure out where that's going. Right now, we're starting to brainstorm on interim. It's not the perfect word for it, but some spot improvement that we could put in that would complement the ultimate section, hopefully, or could be replaced eventually, but ideally stuff that would work together in the long run. We've worked up a few ideas here. So these are just our preliminary brainstorming ideas. So we can start with what we're looking at here. The orange stuff is dashed as planned. Solid is already there. The other colors going on are bikeways. So they don't necessarily have any treatment, but a lot of them, the ones that get used already anyway, are kind of routes, taking side streets like this university that gets you all the way through Presidio route. That's a bikeway route. We can keep enhancing that with signage and potential striping. That's what all the other colors are about. The purple is the primary bikeways, the ones we'll put the most effort in, the ones that take you the furthest and the most direct. The orange is secondary, the thin blue is the third priority of that. So it's a combination of some new ideas we've been looking at to cycle them in. Get
I had a hard time getting my bearings, trying to figure out.
Yeah, for sure.
So where, like, what is this?
It's West Route 66. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Woody Mountain.
Woody Mountain, yep. Woodlands Village.
Okay, okay. Okay,
We got
okay, okay.
the Milton right here.
Railroad parks across the
Nothing
top.
there, okay, okay.
University.
It's the line library. I can identify that.
Safeway,
Safeway there, okay.
Target.
This is Presidio. Where was
So you're
ours?
saying there's already an existing trail right there?
Like, so this is where they have super eligible. Targets here. Targets here.
So that the dashed is the existing plan.
Plan.
So already planned in other documents, already.
Because this is that conversation we talked about getting to, like FAC, they've closed that apartment complex, right? So we got to get to that area. Okay, sorry about that, I just couldn't.
Until recently, the thicker purple cut through here.
Yeah.
So we still have hope. It's still a line, but it used to be the primary.
Yeah.
Through there, we'll see what happens. So, yeah, it's all concepts of how do we connect all this out here towards NAU downtown Milton area. Some of our first ideas, connecting the foots. There's a short section along Timber Sky. Connecting it to a place that then has backage road access. That would be the idea. Right now, this is showing it on the north side of the street because the Railroad Springs doesn't have any connectivity options from about this line over. They don't have any backage road options, so two-way travel, which the foots would potentially facilitate to at least get you to Thompson, that's this street here. And then you can either, you'll notice this one would become a more enhanced bikeway. I don't think we would need to do a whole lot with it. It's a quiet enough street. But it would be a better signed and become more of that bikeway concept. And then the north side of it has that bikeway concept moving forward. It would need a better crossing option though, too.
Is that what the circle represents?
Crossings.
Yeah, some sort of improvement at the intersection.
Ultimately, Thompson will have a signal and a roundabout.
Yeah, most likely. We haven't got that far on the study to see which one works better and how many lanes it might need to be.
So a roundabout on, where's Thompson?
Right here.
So that's would be on Route 66.
Yeah.
Okay.
West 66 and Thompson.
That's a current challenge in that system is getting across 66 Thompson.
Yeah.
So no stop control.
Just getting across it anywhere in that area is a challenge. Yeah. Because I usually talk down from like the bus trail there, that first crossing is, and there isn't a crossing there. And I can be like waiting to get across for like 5-10 minutes. Yeah. I know that's not an existing trail, but there's a way to cut through there, right?
Where at?
Like, I think I'm pretty sure it's this dotted line. I like hop out here somewhere and then get on.
Okay, yeah, yep.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, okay. I don't know, I just go where it looks like you should go.
Where others have gone. before
Yeah.
you.
And yeah, up here it could be something similar. I think this one has a lot of potential for all the development to pay for it. But we do want a model, which is that initial study I was talking about. We kind of want to model what that intersection would look like, but it might come sooner on its own as a connected to development mitigation. So I could get there. This one's more likely our own idea.
Did Jay have his hand raised or did we not erase it?
Yeah, I don't think you have to
Did you fall?
He left.
Sounds like he's involved in some pet and bike activity.
Part of this foot's connection idea is maybe it could become the ultimate scenario to that northern edge between, at least this is Railroad Springs, another difficult place to cross. But for bike and ped, we're thinking it doesn't, there's no real reason to cross yet. I think eventually there will be. But that's why these allow like the two-way traffic concept over to here. But for this stretch, it's kind of has an edge already, and it looks like we could expand that edge and turn it into a foots that could remain no matter what ultimate cross section happens. Maybe it'd turn into a one-way bikeway instead of a two-way foot, so something could remain.
It's not projecting, I don't think.
You're not sharing?
There's a question, can you project this? Maybe that's all, 544.
Are you sharing your screen, Colin?
So, yes, Martin's.
It looks, yeah, I don't know, I think Jay might be having some technical difficulties.
Stella, can you see it?
Sorry, I can, yes.
That's the gist here. We got a zoom in because this area gets a little busier. Still, it's the concept of how do we move from west to east, east to west to get into NAU, all the stuff, the services on Milton and even downtown. The ideas of how we stay off of West 66 in here.
Yeah, I love that.
And yeah, so kind of on both sides. This one, enhanced intersection ideas, maybe some protection or something, probably not a full redo or a roundabout or anything like potentially picturing on Thompson. This is
That intersection is crazy busy all the time.
Mhm. This is showing a foots here, so this would, you can cross, and this would be the little section. This would be a little section that then gets you to the side, the back edge road network again. So this would be difficult to cross. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but there is room. It'd probably be ideal if we added a little right of way potentially, but there is physical room for a nice separation with landscaping even. And this could be a two-way segment that gets people back down to, for points further that are between Milton and 66. So that's what the purple is showing, is maybe some enhanced bikeway corridor striping and stuff like that, a little less infrastructure based, maybe restriping, something along those lines. Then on the other side of 66, you run into a similar problem when you get to that now fenced off neighborhood of Mill Pond of how can you get back,
Yeah.
if you're on this side of 66, how do you get back to it? So we're trying to get this point in NAU. These are NAU connections, access points. How do you kind of get to this central campus from anywhere on north or west of 66? There's an alley that comes down this way. And then
Yeah, it's a dirt road, right?
yeah, they use it for parking right now. And then then it would have to go through the hotel parking lot and
Yeah.
bend over. A bit of a tortured route, but there's some potential there.
Yeah, I take that path almost every other day. Not
That alley?
No, I go like here. To try to get to people, and
Okay.
I'm just going the opposite way on that sidewalk, but it is not safe. And I don't have any other really options. You can't cross over because there is no bike lane on that 66 side really, unless you take over that road. Right, so just, I think any solutions you can come up with like that would be great. I like it.
Aside from this section in here, doesn't look to be the physical space for a separated foot, a foot separated from the road. Anywhere between Woodlands and Milton.
Yeah.
So that's why this felt like potential opportunity to at least get you to one of the backage roads. It might add more hills than ideal. This is a straighter shot, but it gets you going to somewhere, then you could cross here. This is real preliminary. Metro plans probably go, what's going on here?
The spot with that?
Yeah.
We are.
We didn't approve any of these crazy ideas.
We're still about 6 months out from coming up with a variety of options, looking at a lot of different things. This roadway is owned by ADOT, so there's limitations in their engineering design standards that we're considering, hence why we're having more robust conversations with staff on what can be done within those limits and really evaluating different options should we run into anticipated hiccups in our centers, just put it that way. But we are shooting to provide some options for council to consider. There will be a variety of options because the funding that is allocated to West Route 66, your 419 funds specifically call out widening of this roadway. So we want to look at other options that could potentially defer that and improve mobility for folks that don't have that currently along the corridor, i.e. people who walk. So lots of more information to come. I think at our next week, we have a project advisory group meeting, which is made up of all of our jurisdictional partners. So we'll be hammering away on what we're gonna move towards. Yeah.
But you guys will give us all the answers for that meeting next week. That's the goal. But this is real brainstorming stage. We thought it'd be fun to pull you in and get some ideas.
No, always a challenge with these corridor plans. It's fairly easy to visualize what the ultimate corridor might look like, in this case, like separated bike lanes. But if that is unfunded or a long ways off, what can happen in the meantime to actually make meaningful connections through this corridor? And that might be, like Carlton described, using some on-street things and just assigning or striping it better. There may be just some spot improvements, and maybe like one crossing or one place where the bike lane disappears. That makes all the difference. So we're trying to tease all those out and keeping the ultimate solution in mind, but like thinking of how we can implement this in the meantime, shorter term, and create better access. And it's definitely a challenge getting out to that side of town.
So reaching out to the person that owned that facility, you guys were looking at that, did that not kind of pan out?
It's still
Still
in the works. I'm never willing to say something didn't pan out.
Got you.
It's not going great.
Yeah, I try to access that area from, like, I live in Cheshire, Northwest, but I want to stay like on the west side of everything. So on Milton and
Right.
like, it gets kind of tricky doing that. Like sometimes I'll even take like trail.
Yeah, I feel like the hardcore, Gore people who live in Cheshire, like go over the top of the
Yep.
mesa, but that doesn't seem like an ideal commuting route for the rest of us.
Especially it's pretty like, there's a big hill to start off and it's kind of like techie.
I feel like they enjoy that.
Yeah, I guess the Gore people have to get over there too.
Any other thoughts, experiences, people who go out that way, what tricks, workarounds, shortcuts?
Yeah, where do you get that?
I just don't go out that way.
I don't either.
It's not, yeah, it's
Not feasible.
My
There's no-
BP is out there.
It's been a long time since I've ridden it, but that West 66 route, you know, if you're trying to go on West 66 at all, I feel like I'm just totally taking my life in my hands. And then if you have to cross to turn onto Woodlands, you're crossing a couple of lanes of traffic to try and get into turn lanes, and people are going fast and they do not appreciate anybody. So you almost are better served going up to the light and then crossing again. That's really about the only way. Cause it's deadly.
And I guess one of the ways I do it sometimes is, I'll be just north of the train tracks on that like gravel road and then go under the tunnel. Like where, I guess that would be the Futz Trail or
Yeah.
the Flagstaff Loop Trail goes under there. But I avoid Route 66 pretty much at all costs.
But it's inevitable if you're anywhere on the side now going,
If the plans to widen it, it's just gonna get,
yeah.
go faster and faster. And there's just more and more people moving out that way and more development.
There's still a dirt track on the south side of it. I mean, there used to be back when I lived out there, and that would be, if I wanted, there's fewer intersections crossing along the south side, like going, if you're coming out of Home Depot, and you just stay on the Home Depot side, and as long as there's not snow, it seemed like there's a walking, riding route that people have been using.
We're going out west?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
Through
if
here.
it's still in shape now or.
Yeah, a bit offset, just a dirt single track through here at least. This is gonna get redeveloped. Both of these parcels are moving dirt already. Well, this one's sitting there, so maybe I think, yeah, they've lost their permits, actually. They sat for so long. But
It'll be
this one,
interesting when the new development goes in west of, is that Woody Mountain Road? I mean, if people cross over and then cross back, or if they just keep using the dirt track more, and then we can have it kind of be established as a social trail thing.
I semi take it back because I do try to get to Woodlands Village where you've put this like little foots.
Yeah.
I do try to get over there. There's medical services over there. That's where I got these cool glasses. And on my, on my bike, I just cross Milton on, I think, Reardon. And then go on Plaza and back up. It's also not great. And then on Woodlands, I ride on the sidewalk because I won't get in that road. So on the wrong side of the road, it's really not fun to bike over there.
Yeah, that's what I do, wrong side of the road all the time, because what are you gonna do? The problem you run into though is everyone who's turning right is not looking right.
Yep. No,
There's a lot of blind corners that you don't see till they're almost at you, so you get a California stop on there and you're in trouble.
But I will say, if this could happen, this could solve like just this little turn here. I mean, yes, you go into the hotel here, you could cross over. I almost feel that if you could just go that extra feet, you'd then be in the Galaxy Diner. You could be in that area. You just kind of get right here to the Hawk system and cross over. You know what I mean? Like it really could open up that area.
Yeah, we kind of have to get to that intersection because there's a signal there, right? That's the only decent way of getting across.
The Hawk, yeah, which.
Yeah, I mean, you go to the Hawk, but like, yeah,
But that's what that is, right there. That's the Hawk right there.
Right here.
that's the Hawk, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And then where the thicker pink line comes in is the signal at
correct.
366.
Yeah, right, which is okay to wait for that signal.
Yeah.
If you could almost get into just this little area here to where you get to the, you know, the Galaxy Diner and all that stuff, where the old Goodwill was and all that stuff, right? Because then you're moving in, right? So this, you have to go all the way to Safeway down and through. And there's traffic on there. Trying to take a left there is much harder than it seems because cars want nothing to do with you.
On Plaza?
Right here, right? Isn't this?
Oh,
Well, you're actually.
That's
No.
Yale and Plaza.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant that up here. Sorry, here. Here, right? This is Reardon, like you talked about.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's the.
yeah, I don't know what the solution would be, but if these are bikeways, definitely try to make it more visible.
Right.
Four-way stop comes to mind even.
I do see a fair number of people on their bikes on Reardon trying to get to that little area that you have the Z thing.
Yeah.
A lot of students ride back there.
Big time.
Yeah. And I've never understood how they navigate the crossing. I don't know what they do. I think some of them go, like crossing Milton, I don't know what they do.
And here,
Yeah. Mhm. They'll be like in both sides of the bike lane going multiple directions in the crosswalks. They kind of, I think they take whatever route they personally think is comfortable. To try to get over to some of the housing back there.
What are you doing on time, Martin? Are you on the bus tonight?
No.
You're good?
No,
Okay.
yeah. Thanks for asking.
Cool. It will be nice to have that bus trail extended. I think that'll be amazing. That'll be on the
Which one?
south side of the tracks this year.
Where you at?
Oh, yes.
the ultimate plan, yeah.
Connecting to, Woody Mountain.
Yeah, that'll be great.
For like adventure cycling.
There's kind of a question there, I think, you know, I mean, that we're relying on the Rio to Flag project, that trail to be connected. And we had anticipated as an aggregate trail, but like how valuable does it become as kind of a bikeway to serve the same function of getting people into that part of town from those neighborhoods to the west
That's what I would use.
as an alternative to Route 66?
I mean, you get right to the FAC.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
go,
I think that sometimes when I'm going to Tuthill, I like to ride to
Yeah.
Tuthill.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I've done that, right?
yeah,
Because the implication is if that became an important bikeway, like, do we think about that being a paved trail? With all apologies to the adventure cyclists. Fully use our gravel bikes.
well, there's the Flagstaff Loop Trail. They can do that with the hills.
There'll always be that road on the other side of the railroad tracks, which is very adventurous.
Oh, yeah, that'll still be there.
Especially if it's raining. That does not hold water very well. I learned the hard way.
And what do you imagine it as like on the Woody Mountain side? Like, would that be, is that, I assume not paved, but.
Presently, it's there, but not paved, yeah. It'd be nice for commuter route, but, you'd have to anticipate that part of the year, it's not gonna.
So it's like this year.
Yes. There may be more. Yes.
Are there any school or bus connections that would be, I don't know about the elementary or high school for the neighborhoods, like the different level of comfort required for having kids biking versus, and also if they're ever going to do the bus stop out there, like for the people who are coming the one direction, then they have to immediately cross over, it seems like. So it would just be the two crossings, but nothing for Railroad Springs or
Oh, Melanie is saying things. Sorry, I just saw.
Yeah, I was just saying that the general vicinity of West Route 66, any improvements would be good. We used to leave from Boulder Point where we live with a kid on the e-bike, but now that that's not feasible, it's like we can't leave. There's no safe way to bike out of that area with a kid. Hopefully when the underpass under Milton is completed, like going through campus from those neighborhoods will be better, but right now it's pretty rough.
The paved north route along the railroad would be pretty awesome for a comfortable, safe connector. Just get on it, not have to feel like it's making a whole bunch of decisions and.
On the north side of the railroad tracks?
On the south side of the tracks, but along the tracks, just thinking about if I had the choice of going on that every day as my commute, boy, that would be nice. I mean, I did used to zigzag through and went through Blackbird Roost and all of those things, and yeah, it was fun to say I did it. It's like opening it up to more people, making it, especially with kids or with people who are less comfortable riding.
The sort of thing like after you're done, you go back to Google Maps, go, where exactly did I go?
Yeah, that's like every day. What's it? I remember asking permission from one of the shops there if I could have access to the railroad right of way thing from their business. And so I would ride through there every day because they were nice enough to say, yeah, we'll turn a blind eye and you can go on the railroad right away. And yeah,
Yes,
whatever that maintenance road is on the south side.
Yeah.
They're great.
I guess that does, factor in that it kind of eases navigation because you kind of get on the trail and navigation is accomplished. Like you don't have to worry about where to turn.
Yeah, just looking at the nest of the purple.
Yeah, I mean, part of it would be, we would sign it to help people navigate, but I still think having more direct route is preferable, even if you sign other less direct routes to help people navigate.
Yeah, I think it's still nice to have safe routes to get through areas in case you want to access any of the businesses in the area. Yeah. But I'm all for direct ways for getting through areas.
That was great, Carl.
Yeah, thanks.
Any other
Call me
discussion
anytime.
on that item?
Midnight calls with your idea,
There you go.
insert it.
That's on record. It's been recorded.
Here's the call from the field. I'm at the corner of, it looks like, can you tell me where to go from here?
This is the challenge. Add it to your fix, Matt.
The next agenda item is, and this seems like a lot of miles, 8.5 miles of asphalt bus trails.
Yep. I don't really have much to add. We can look at the app for that. I just wanted to provide that. I know we've talked about it before, but just as a way of providing more detail and information in case you're interested. I don't really need to go into any details on it.
I love the details about asphalt, wear and tear, aging, what it does in cold weather.
Well, that's great. This is the one that got a lot of errors in it, right? Those last curves, it's got some bumps, right? Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
That's right along the.
Right past the Noble Herb place.
Okay.
On the Route 66 trail.
Everyone knows where that is.
Everyone loves that.
What's the timeline on is that just ongoing right now?
Well, we're engaging with the kind of contractors and designers. We're trying to do it this summer. We've got some money, more money will come in if next year's budget is approved. But we're hopeful to do at least part of it, as much as we can this summer.
That's great.
How much does just the asphalt, just 8.5 miles of asphalt, the raw?
We replaced it all?
No, just the raw materials, just like, not even the labor, just the raw asphalt.
How much would that cost?
Yeah, it seems like
I'd have to look at I mean, we have a scenario that shows that, but I think it's probably $7, $8, $9 million. Concrete is like $15, $16 million. Yeah.
How old are some of those? When were they last repaired?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think some of the asphalt trails go back probably, I want to say around 2000 maybe.
Okay, so you
So
get some good
20
life out of it.
20 years, yeah, yeah. I mean, we've been sort of, not very active in maintaining asphalt. And asphalt is really a thing that has to be treated,
Yeah.
in an ongoing way. Like when cracks develop, you seal them and fill them, and then the kind of the overlay refreshes the surface of it. So that needs to be done regularly to kind of keep, problems from starting and to keep problems that have started from getting worse. Like what happens with those cracks is, asphalt will shrink and it'll form block cracks, and you can tell when that's happening when the cracks are regular, like they're every 50 feet or something. It's because the asphalt is shrinking, it's drying out. And so if you repair those cracks and fill it with kind of like an elastic material and then resurface it, yeah, you're covered. It won't last forever, of course, but you've addressed that. If you don't address it, water will seep in. Now, every time it freezes, it starts to destroy more of the asphalt. Eventually, what happens with a lot of the cracks that we have is it gets down to the base, and then that whole section has been compromised. Like, in order to fix that, we have this plan. You have to take out that section of asphalt and recompact the base. And so like ongoing maintenance keeps that from happening, and extends the life. But really, asphalt is probably, even in a good scenario, a 30, 40-year lifespan. So I think, yeah, I guess we've had trails long enough that those bills are coming due. We have to address that. We have to think about that moving forward. What we repair here is not going to last forever. We're planning to maintain it. We'll put money in the budget to do regular maintenance, but even that won't make it last forever. Like, we have to plan what we're going to do 40 years from now. Well, somebody will have to plan for what we do 40 years from now.
Yeah, that's great. That 180 path to Cheshire
It's bumpy.
needs it. That's gonna be great. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You guys don't have suspension or?
No. Not pleasant, right? You're not suspended, it's bumpy. Not onto the road. Beating me up.
Any more discussion on?
The trail there, that goes under the highway over to Fort Tuthill, that bottom one, was it number 17? That goes out from Ponderosa Trails.
The blue one?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
blue one. Is that still gonna be asphalt? Or are you gonna, okay. Cause it's separated pretty badly and like probably every 7 or 8 feet, there's probably that much of a gap in the asphalt now.
Which part are you referring to?
That whole section there along the whole blue area there.
Actually, that blue is in really good shape.
Is it? Cause it sure doesn't feel like it when you're riding it.
There's a part at the end. We did that a couple of years ago, with a different kind of asphalt, and actually there were very few cracks when we did the inventory. But when you get closer to the neighborhood, it starts to fall apart. And at the end of it, when you get closer to the airport, it starts to fall apart. The middle part is in pretty good shape. Yeah, I thought there's a different, I think it's hard to see, but there's, when you get to the end of it, there's a different treatment. Maybe this doesn't show it, yeah.
Is it the green? When
Yeah.
you're along John Wesley Powell? That one's in a little rougher shape.
Yeah, that's older, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in theory, in this process, like all the cracks should be addressed in one manner or another.
That's great.
It's good.
Yeah. The one section that's in blue now, before we redid it, it was horrific.
Yeah.
Like every few feet there was.
It's way better now, but it's starting to, you can see it's starting to
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
and I can feel it.
And you can almost, you can tell where there are like, where a crack is going to be, but it's not yet. Is that what you're talking about?
No, there are cracks.
Yeah.
There are some cracks. They're not, some are good sized cracks and some are just like humps with a crack in them. But they're there. Better than potholes, so I'm thankful.
Anything else for me?
That concludes discussion on asphalt. The next item on the agenda is reports. I see that one of the reports is the Metro Plan Travel Diary Survey. Now we're running kind of short on time. We're out of here at 6:30. Agenda?
You can stay as long as you like. We typically don't go past 6:30.
Okay, well, we'll plan on concluding here in a few minutes. Are there any of these that you wanted to touch on specifically?
Did you have a question about the travel diary?
I don't know. I was one of the ones that got the $10 gift card, so.
Ah, excellent. I think the results are gonna come back soon.
Okay,
And when we have them, the new mode share numbers, we're gonna update the report that collects a variety of mode share data, and present that to you.
okay, cool.
So, I mean, it basically is telling us how many people are walking, biking and taking transit.
Appreciate that. And I think, didn't you get one too, Sam? Who else here got a? Jody, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
or at least there was something where they offered me a certificate and there was like, with a Friday, I was supposed to report. That's it.
Did you record all your travel?
Yeah, I actually had more than I was going to that day because my day kind of crashed and burned. And at the end of the day, I had totally forgotten about all of it. So it was good.
I filled it out too, and I can't claim this was an anomaly, but like I rode to work and I rode home. It was a Tuesday.
I know, exactly. They don't do it on a cool day. Anything that you want to touch on before I wrap us up here on that list of reports?
You guys have anything for any projects? They're all moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. We could jump into all of them, but or we could get going.
We're gonna talk about the micromobility. It's because
It's impending.
yeah.
Sure. Okay, so you'll see the last report here is micromobility share. Tim can help me with this one as well.
You can take it. I'm not, you're fine.
What? So probably, I don't know exactly when this came to light, probably sometime last summer. Sustainability identified a anomaly in city code where, so I guess we're probably familiar with bike share that has come through Flagstaff before, fairly new thing. I think that there were 2 attempts made, and this is really where Kim knows more than I do. If you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, there in 2018, the city entered an agreement with Spin. I believe those are the orange ones. And they did a pilot, 6 months happened, and then Spin decided they wanted to move to scooters, and the city wasn't ready for that yet, so it died. It was a great pilot, lots of usage, super great data. So it was a great pilot. Then in 2020, they tried again. They entered an agreement with Gotcha and then the pandemic came and we couldn't get any devices. So that fell out of the wagon. But in the meantime, there is a city code. There's some city codes that are preventing, this is where sustainability comes in. I don't have to talk about this too much. Okay, you take over. We'll tag team this one.
Sure. So, yeah, so there's an anomaly in city code where if a scooter share, bike share company wants to come and operate in Flagstaff City right of way, they need a permit. However, we do not have a permit process for them to be able to. So that was sort of what prompted this. We've been exploring with sustainability and Metro Plan, what it would look like, take to set up a permit process, what like different avenues of what that could be. It could be a formal contract, or it could be a less formal permit. Ultimately, a group of us will be going to Flagstaff City Council on February 11th to discuss the matter. I think that that's probably a sufficient update for now. Feel free to attend that, and depending on what direction council points us towards, if they want us to continue to pursue the opportunity, there may be more discussion to come.
Well, if I remember correctly, we kind of had some discussions in the 2020 timeframe about where scooters would be allowed. And I mean, we had like scooters in the bike lane.
Election, because we talked about this recently too with ASRS, is that ASRS only defines electric stand-up scooters, right? Like segways, essentially. Or it only defines certain classes of scooters and not others and where they're supposed to go. I feel like I asked.
They have two different, they have segways, they have electric stand-up scooters, they have small electric stand-up scooters. I'm not sure what the difference is, but those are the three they define. Yeah.
And Flagstaff City Code does define electric stand-up scooters. And yeah, so we've been working with, with just the state of city code around them. There's a micromobility share feasibility report that Kim put together that does a very good job summarizing what it would look like as we look ahead to potentially taking this on as a city. So.
Can we read that somewhere?
Eventually.
Yeah, right now it's with all sorts of legal. But I updated, at the time, NABDA, which is now Mountain Line. They, in 2017, did a bike share feasibility study. I updated it to include all micromobility because electric scooters are here.
Well, those companies really want their scooters. I mean, it's like, if I remember correctly, those companies were like, oh yeah, we can get you bikes. And then they're like, but you gotta take scooters. We want you to take these scooters. Please take the scooters. I mean, they were like pushing the scooters, if I remember correctly.
Well,
maybe I'm misremembering that, but.
Yeah, peer study with other cities show, what is it, Chris, like 80-20?
Yeah, the two of us sat and talked with the city representatives from the City of Denver micromobility program, where they manage multiple contracts. And yeah, they said that it was more than 80% of rides are taken by scooter in place of bikes.
Yeah, and we really wanted the bikes, and we were like, yeah, the bikes sound cool, and let's go. And then it's like, is your town going to be overrun with scooters? And that's not what you intended when you started talking about having a contract with one of these companies.
But now it's when you say micromobility share, you're like scooters. Yeah, like, I mean, that's gonna be probably the majority of what's used.
Yeah, that's what companies want to put here.
Yeah,
that's what people ride.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Interesting. Well, let's make the permit process where it's just like.
We'll see what council says.
Can you give the date again?
February 11th.
If city council does give us we'll be bringing this back to.
More formally.
Yes, in a more formal setting with a presentation and the whole shebang.
Yeah, if I remember our conversations, there was a lot of like, can we avoid unforeseen circumstances with how we extend contracts to these companies? Um, That concludes our discussion on everything. I think we discussed everything, right? There's no other items. I move to adjourn. There's a second for adjournment. All in favor, aye. Hey, we voted on something. We're adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good meeting.
Feels like we haven't been here in a while, right? Just with it's been a month and a half since we put our times back.
You got,
two meetings now?
Bionic baby.
I'm with Metro Plan.
Code about
Yeah.
electric
Yeah.
scooters. It's not enforced.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 70 dollars.
This one just says where they could go.
Yeah, and like they have all the rights, that cyclists does.
Yeah.
And yeah,
The inside of my legs.
like the interesting thing about scooters and Flagstaff City, like they, so bikes are allowed on sidewalks outside of downtown. Scooters are not, they're also not allowed on aggregated. So there's definitely some.
Muscles are gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember now, it feels like one wheel is covered.
Have your
Just
time doing
being old.
It doesn't define them, and city doesn't define them,
Yeah.
there are people who ride them around.
Oh, yeah, totally.
People on the bike lanes get there to covered because they're not, you're not gonna understand them because they don't have the.
Yeah.
I hope I.
Oh, yeah.
That's different. You can't go that person.
Next Danielson job.
Like what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
It's different between city and county.
We were trying to align it for a while because this came up with bikes, there were some differences and that was supposed to happen, but I think, I don't